Alright, so me and my friend worked out a deal, and I was wanting to buy a box intake from him, Downs style, and we agreed on a price. And then he said, you know what, I need a heater core done in my Saleen, and you're the only one that I really trust to do it. So I'm going to maneuver the cars around, get the Saleen in the main spot so I can have room to work on it, and get started on this heater core. It's going to take a while. Like I said, it's a big job, and I won't go very fast on it. I will try to keep it constant, that way I don't forget where I'm at or where things go. Starting out today, it's the 22nd. He's in no rush. He just wants it done. Okay, so I've got the car switched around. Coupe's over here. Saleen's over here. Plenty of room on both sides to get the doors open. So I'm going to be doing both sides and needing that extra room. I don't see any problem with the strut tower brace getting in the way of where I need to be. There's some bolts down there on the firewall I have to get to, but it's not going to be a problem, I don't believe. Nothing big has to come out of there, and it doesn't make for much tighter where I'm going. So anyways, that's just the first part. I'm going to start putting all the stuff back that I drug out. It'll be all piled around the coupe instead of piled around the Saleen. One of the terrible things about having a small garage, but you know. So all the rearranging's done. I'm gonna go wash my hands before I get started because this interior is pretty nice. Again, it's not gonna take long. At the most, I'm gonna guess 2 weeks. If it was mine, I'd probably slack off on it more. But since it's a friend's, I want to do it right, and I want to do it quick, so he's not waiting on it and worrying about it. So. You know, there's certain perks to owning a Saleen back in the day. Apparently, you needed these. This is under the driver's seat. First 2 bolts I took out, and this was sitting beside it, so. Well, good on him. I hope he got what he was looking for. Okay, well the seats are out. Bolts were a little hard to get, out, but a little bit of WD-40 and a little bit of leverage, and we got them. No broken bolts or anything like that. They came out pretty fine. These things need a good cleaning. I'm not gonna be the one to do it because I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm afraid I'd shampoo them and they would fall apart. But good shape, just need a little cleaning up. Nets are good in the headrest. They're not even loose. I'm not gonna touch them, but they look kind of loose, but they're not. I don't know why my camera is making them look like that. They look better in person. But anyways, all right. So I've been working on this for I don't know, a few hours. I've got the console out. That's pretty much all the seats and console out. The radio was something else because Saleen put in a Pioneer, and they had their own wiring, and none of it matched up, so I had to make sure to take pictures of that before I tore it out, because finding the wiring schematics of a old Pioneer and, well, the wiring schematics of a Mustang wouldn't be too bad, but just take pictures before you take it apart and save yourself a lot of grief. So this is how far I've gotten today. And I'd say, like I said, it's no rush on his part at all. So moving on to the console and all the stuff to take it loose. It's not too bad. I'm just trying to remember what goes first. I think it's the shifter part. Just pops up. I think there's 2 bolts under here that hold this center in, and then there's some wiring for the mirrors and for the cigarette lighter, which are no big deal. And then there's 2 bolts. Then we go with the whole bottom part, and there's 2 screws there and 2 screws over here underneath this panel that goes underneath the steering column. And then that should come off. And I have to figure out what we do with the connections to the stereo. Hopefully, I mean, they just come unhooked. We'll see. Up tomorrow after work probably, and I'll just kind of hit it here and there, a couple hours at a time. I did find out he was worried that this wasn't a Hurst shifter. They were supposed to have Hurst shifters installed by Saleen, and it is. It's a Hurst shifter without the stops. They offered some later on that had actual stops for, what is it, second and third gear, whatever. Anyways, it got stops so you don't bend the shift forks when you're shifting real hard. But it does say Hurst on it. It's not stamped steel base, so they did do what they said they were going to do. He said it felt so sloppy, but it's got a stock handle with a rubber isolator on it, which puts a lot more slop back in what the Hurst would take out. So, but yeah, next will be probably taking out the dash, the actual cluster. You have to take that out to get the speedometer cable out from behind it, pull the wiring out of the back of the cluster, safely put it somewhere. Right now it's safely stored on top of my T-top coupe. Nobody comes in here and messes with anything anyways. It'd just be me. Worst it's gonna get is dusty. I think we're okay with that. Again, I might eat my own words, but I'm gonna plan on having this done in 2 weeks. Oh, and I also fixed the ashtray lid. These are notorious for breaking the ashtray lids, and this one was 56,000 miles and it was broke. Wouldn't stay shut. And I just took it off and looked at it and said, well, hell, that's not, where's it at? That's not broke. Usually this tab here, right there, is broke off or broke out where the spring goes. This spring here, and the spring was intact. This tab was a little bent over because it's always got tension on it, and that's what breaks them. And the spring was in the wrong position, so I heated and bent this tab back over straight and just reinstalled the spring. And now it works. For how long, I don't know, but it does work. It functions like it should. Bad design by Ford, and they didn't change it from 87 to 93. They changed it for the new SN95s. I don't know what they did differently, but those never broke. These always broke. So it works for the time being. A little added bonus. Anyways, that's pretty much it for today. I'll keep you guys posted on my progress. it's day 3 working on this Saleen. Didn't get a lot done today. Got a little bit more done yesterday. Well, quite a bit more done yesterday. I got the dash pretty much taken out. I got the heater box pulled back. I've got 3 of the 4 bolts out. This 4th one's going to be the trickiest one. But here's what it looks like. Here's the aftermath of everything. I've been real careful. When these things get this far apart, it just looks like you've destroyed it. But everything's come apart real easy. No broken connectors, no broken dash, plastics. All the stuff is up here. If I was going to be longer on this thing, I would definitely store these a little bit better. Some things I found, nothing too exciting. This stud was broke off from this bolt was broke off from the factory. But yeah, nothing much in here. Nothing much to see. I just took the bracket off. You can't really see it. It's dark in there, but took the bracket off, took the bolts out. There's only 2 bolts on this side, and pushed it back. You can see how far the tubes are for the heater core. But yeah, I'm gonna try and get that last bolt out. That's pretty much all I'm gonna get done today. Hopefully tomorrow will be better, and I can actually start putting it back together. It'd be nice to have it really close to complete by Friday. So anyways, that's the status update. Till next time. Well, that wasn't so bad. There's 1 bolt, and it just took a little bit of working with a 1/4-inch ratchet to get it to go. And luckily I had a few different lengths of 8mm sockets to be able to squirm in there, and a shorter one whenever it got up a little ways so it wouldn't hit the firewall or cowl or whatever you'd call it underneath the windshield. So here's the old one, and it's pretty disgusting. Weird white stuff on this side. I don't know what it is. It kind of flakes off. Smells like a battery. So I don't know, but I'm sure that's part of the leak that it's got. When you put one in from LMR, they give you a bunch of padding to go around it. I'm gonna assume it's not the right size, because this one was in here, definitely stock. It was in there with nothing. It's just sitting in there just like this. So it's a tight fit. So I'm gonna guess just the newer ones, or at least the LMR ones, are smaller, made differently, need padding to keep them from rattling. I don't know. Guess that's a good reason to try to find a Ford one. I would assume that these are getting hard to find. Tomorrow I should be able to slide that in there, go through the trouble of putting the bolts back in, and we'll have a working heater. Alright, so day 5, day 4 didn't go so well. I think I got the last screw out of the lid on day 4. That was about it. I got the old one out, got the new one in, got the lid put back on and the screws put back in. I went to put it back in and it wouldn't go. I was afraid that I'd put the heater core in wrong, and maybe it was riding up a little high, because I couldn't get the studs that come through the firewall to line up. One would, the furthest to the passenger side, but the other one wasn't even close. So I kept pushing. Finally realized that while I was trying to push down on the HVAC box to get more clearance, I bent the stud. So I had to disconnect the AC lines, which the AC wasn't charged anyways. Disconnect the AC lines, pull it all the way out, which that's the only thing that was holding it in. It was all out except for that. And bend the stud back up. It bent back up, no problem. I've got it, both the studs through the firewall, right there, and right there. So I'm getting ready to put it all back together. I wanted to show you guys that before and kind of give you a little tip. Don't get too aggressive trying to bend down that heater box when you don't have it all the way out. But yeah, it's back in. I'm gonna put the evaporator dryer back on with, that's what bolts to those two studs. Actually, there's two nuts, then the evaporator dryer, and then 2 more nuts. And that'll be done. I think everything will go pretty smooth from here on out. Just make sure I make all the connections before I put the dash back in. Otherwise, I'll be pulling the dash back out or crawling under the dash, doing it kind of blind, so it's not gonna be bad. If I get into a groove and can spend more than a half an hour to an hour out here, probably tomorrow, I should be able to get it pretty close to done. Very worst case scenario, I'll have this done by next weekend. So anyways, that's the update. Okay, so I got done quicker than I thought. Had a good section of time on Sunday after all, and got it knocked out. Everything's back together, no extra parts. That may be a first for me, but I was determined to do just that. Put it back exactly the way it came apart. Again, because of what it is, and it hasn't been messed with, so I really just wanted to make it as good as I could, kind of leave it look as untouched as I could while I was taking so much stuff apart. But here's what I got, and I mean, there's nothing to look at really, because it's just the way it was. Went back together pretty simple, pretty good. Scared me a little bit. I had to keep stopping and thinking about it, make sure that I hadn't forgotten anything. And yeah, the radio went back together. It lights up, makes sound. I started it, ran it. Everything looks good. I haven't ran it real long, but ran it with the cap on, let it get hot enough to build some pressure, and there's no leaks back here. So I think we're good to go. Hard to see. It's a bad area anyways, but you know, no obvious leaks. I'll probably run it again tomorrow, top off the coolant, and go ahead and check the tightness on those. I use the tower clamps, which are not the best clamps in the world. I prefer a worm gear clamp, but to make it look like it hadn't been, you know, too messed with, and basically that to me that jumps right out. I know there's supposed to be tower clamps on a car, and if there's not worm gear, then you're like, oh, okay, that's been messed with, and somebody didn't care to put them back. So, but tower clamps are real finicky, and honestly, probably if you take some off, you should probably buy new and put them on, if they are even available. But if you don't know what a tower clamp is, it looks like this. Got a bolt on the top, pushes down on that. It's the weirdest design, hardest to get off, and hardest to get figured out and fixed back, put back on. But yeah, I put them on, put the original ones on. I saved those whenever I looped the heater core in the first place. And we'll see how they hold. They seem to be doing fine now, but it's literally ran for probably 15 minutes or so. So I'll do it again tomorrow, maybe take it around the block. Heat blows hot, so that's definitely working. I mean, I had no reason for it not. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, put down in the comments. And always like, share, subscribe. That helps me out. I've got about 87 subscribers now, and that's great. So, again, like, share, subscribe. I appreciate it. Bye.